What up, Max?
Dave the Wave. What's going on?
Just getting locked in like always. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. So much NBA to talk about.
Gosh.
My gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, this show is around 6 hours and 40 minutes, so I'm ready.
I'm down.
Okay.
So obviously there's so much NBA to talk about. Let's start off with Houston and Golden State. I predicted before this series started, Golden State Warriors win in 5 or 6 games. That's not happening.
It can't happen.
Well, it technically can happen if Houston wins next game.
Oh, yeah, but that's the flip.
But that's the
flip.
It's the flip. So then I also had the Cleveland Cavaliers defeating the Boston Celtics in 5 or 6 games. So everything is just completely crazy. It's chaotic.
I love it. Everyone always thinks sports is, hey, the Patriots will be in the Super Bowl next year. Hey, it's going to be Cavs and Warriors. Everyone always says that Duke will be in another national championship. It doesn't happen. It's hard to win. Things happen. It could be Houston versus Boston? Really?
I still don't see it. I think, okay, we have an awesome Game 5 win for the Houston Rockets that I personally did not see coming. I thought Golden State was 100% going to win that game. But what was interesting about this win that I take away more than usual, it's not just a win for me. The Houston Rockets won with James Harden shooting poorly, inefficient, was 0 for 11 from the three-point line, seemed like his head wasn't even locked into the game.
Ooh.
Trevor Ariza wasn't producing that much. Chris Paul didn't have a great first half, but he turned it up, obviously, in the second half with that shimmy to Steph Curry, which was awesome, by the way.
Gosh, he's awesome.
And they still won. That's what's impressive to me.
Defense.
They played great defense.
Defense wins championships.
But here's the thing, Dave. Going into Game 6, not only is it an Oracle, which I think Golden State wins, by the way, and forces a Game 7 in Houston, which is still an advantage to Houston, but Chris Paul's out. Chris Paul's out Game 6. That is huge defensively. When offensively, when James Harden's not clicking, they've been relying on Chris Paul. I could argue he's been the best player for the Houston Rockets this series.
He has.
He's out.
He has. Okay, so I got a question for you. It's almost like a two-part question.
Okay.
Like you said, they already said Chris Paul is out for Game 6. I have two theories. One is Houston kind of playing the smart game and playing the long game? Like, hey, guys, we are probably not going to win Game 6 in Oracle. Golden State does not lose a lot at home, and especially as big as a game as this. And say, Paul, you are resting. We're not even going to try to stretch you out. We're not even going to try to put you out there in the court. Just sit. Because we need you. We need you 100% healthy for Game 7 in Houston, and they have the home court advantage, and they know they have Game 7 in their back pocket. So that's one. Or is it two is the guy's just goddamn hurt, and he might be out for the series. He might be out for the postseason.
Both those theories are great theories.
Thank you,
I
sir.
would say the first theory is probably the most probable because it may be very likely that Chris Paul is seriously hurt, and it's a serious threat to be missing the whole playoffs. Like, it may be valid. Like, that may be a real thing, a legitimate thing. But I think even with him being seriously hurt, he still plays Game 7. This is your whole season on the line. This is why you came to Houston. This is your one chance to go to the NBA Finals and beat a dynasty in the Golden State Warriors, which may be the greatest team of all time. So I definitely think they know going into Game 6, it's in Oracle. We got lucky. That could be the series. Like, the game changer in the whole series was them beating Golden State in Golden State, because that's the first loss they've ever had in the postseason with Kevin Durant. So that being said, I definitely think they know, hey, Game 7, it's in Houston. We have one shot to beat Golden State. This is what we wanted. If the Rockets could have rewinded time and said, hey, we want one thing this whole series, is to play Game 7 in our house against Golden State, they would have taken that.
For the whole Western
For
Conference
the whole
championship.
Western Conference Championship, I'm sure they are ecstatic that they have this opportunity, so they want Chris Paul 100% healthy.
Okay. Max, great points, and I love your intake. No one's probably got a better intake than you in basketball. What's wrong with Golden State? What's your 2 cents? What's your synopsis? What's happening to the Golden State Warriors?
I like that word.
Hey, I'm a wordsmith.
I like the compliment. I like the vocabulary. This is one of the best episodes, so I'll take it right here. I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors. Everyone thinks you have 4 All-Stars, potentially 4 Hall of Famers on this team. That's why they're so great. And that's the easy way to really portray the whole situation, and it's easy to say that's why they're great. But what makes them great is their system and the way they play unselfish. Their personality, the way they play on the court, it's off the ball, everyone's moving. They had like a crazy statistic where they have the fewest seconds where the ball's in one hand because they're always moving it. And I think what they're doing, whether it's because the Houston Rockets getting in their head, I don't know what the deal may be, but I think they're starting to play differently. They're starting to go away from their roots, and now it's becoming the Durant show. And it's like, hey, Durant, isolation, your mid-range has been hitting. But that deteriorates their offense because their offense was the fact that Klay can give you 40, that Curry can give you 30, that Draymond may have a triple-double and be the deciding factor in the game. But now it seems to be it's Kevin Durant's show. And I think that's what makes them not so special anymore. That's what made them special is their system, and I think they're going away from it. But I think you'll see it return in Game 6.
Yeah, I agree. It's not even the points. It's the shot attempts. You need Klay to shoot the ball 3-4 times a quarter. If it's the Durant show, I like that name. Max, you know what I thought? You know what I think? It's the Durant show. I'm going to steal that name. I like it.
Okay.
But your point is if Durant shoots the ball 12 shots in the third quarter and Klay doesn't shoot, and now he has that open look in the fourth, wide open for the three, he might miss it. He's not in rhythm. He doesn't have the ball. He needs 3-4 shots a quarter. So I totally agree. And you have to give Houston credit. One thing that people, if you're not crazy into basketball, you're just, watching every now and then. Houston is switching every screen.
Yes,
and
great point.
Thank you, man. Not every team can do that. A team like the Cavs can't do that. Kevin Love can't guard Curry. Kevin Love can't guard Klay. God dang, he can't guard anyone on Boston. We'll get into that in a second. But my point is, Houston is switching Harden, Chris Paul, Trevor Ariza, P.J. Tucker, Clint Capella. He's guarding Klay. He blocks Curry on a one-on-one when he drives. Houston is winning this series, honestly, guys, not with their offense, not with iso ball. They're winning this series on defense with switching every screen. They're not allowing a lot of open looks. They're giving up the twos. They're running Curry, Klay, and Durant off the threes. I once saw the last 2 or 3 games is one of their lowest three-point percentages ever for Golden State in a 2-3 game stretch, and that's with Curry a game or two hitting 4 threes in a row, and they're still low shooting percentage. You just got to give credit where credit's due. Houston's defense is locking up.
I like it. I have 3 theories for you.
Okay.
And I want you can go in depth with some, but the first one's pretty much a hit or miss.
Okay.
And it may very well be a miss, but if it's a hit, I can claim I did it. So, okay, the Kevin Durant show, we're going to say KDS. Hit or miss?
Hit.
Okay, so you like it. Last night was a KDS.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Totally.
Now,
such a KDS.
Okay, I love it. Now, sticking on Kevin Durant, are we not going to judge him like he's the second greatest player in the world?
We should.
He choked. He flat out, and I hate using that word, I really do, but he choked. I don't know how else way to say it. In 2 fourth-quarter games combined, I believe he has 8 points, hasn't hit a 3-point shot. He's passing the ball up when he has great opportunities to shoot his shots. It looks like, is the moment too big for him?
It might be. Maybe, guys, that's why, let's just call a spade. The first 9 years of his career, everyone thought he was a top 3, top 5 player in the league. Never won a championship, only made it to 1 NBA Finals with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. That's a freaking dream team right then. Maybe, that little clutch gene, maybe that killer instinct that people, love Kobe for, maybe he just doesn't have it. Guys, we kill, we destroy, we, rip apart when LeBron does this. Not even when LeBron does this. We rip apart when Dennis Schroeder does this. All right? Kevin Durant is coming up empty in the fourth. His shot attempts are just bad shot attempts. He's kind of ball hogging the ball. He's holding it. He's dribbling way too long. And like you said, then the biggest moment when he needs to score and shoot and take the ball to the rim and man up, he falters.
Before I give you my third theory, I think just brain blast moment here, a little Jimmy Neutron moment. Is Kevin Durant, what is he known for? He's known for
shooting the ball 7 foot.
Yeah, but he's also known for always listening to his criticism. And he has fake Twitter accounts. He's always trolling. He's always writing things on his shoes. He's all about subliminal messaging. He doesn't like the criticism. He doesn't like all the hate. So I think what's going to be playing in his head, and I think we do see this, and of course he won't admit to it, but maybe he knows all this criticism, what's going to happen to him if he loses. And that's playing an effect on him. Because he knows if he loses, he went to Golden State, that was a 73-9 team, and they lost with him. And
Wow.
I think he knows that in the back of his head, so you see him playing this hero ball. He wants to make sure that does not happen.
Wow. He wants the KDS show to be successful.
Yeah, because if it doesn't, then
he's the biggest GOAT in the, in a bad way, not even the cool, good way with like LeBron is. He would be the biggest loser the whole season. Even if LeBron doesn't win the championship, guys, and if he loses in the Eastern Conference or if he loses in the finals, everyone would be like, man, he had an amazing season, 15-year, second in MVP voting probably. His games, 2 buzzer beaters. He's literally dragged this Cavs team to wherever they get to, Game 6, Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals. And we'll get to that in a second. I got one more in the West. But if KD loses, if they don't win the championship, it's all on KD. It's not on Curry. It's not on Klay. It's not on Steve Kerr. It's not on Draymond Green. It's not on Iggy with the injury. This championship is on Kevin Durant. So, wow, this will be a black mark to his legacy.
Completely agree. And lastly, my third theory or question for you would be, does Golden State turn it around? Do you see a switch in their system? Do they go back to what they always do and play unselfish basketball?
You want my take on that, huh?
I do. That's my third theory.
Yes. They win the championship. They don't even win the West. They win it all, guys. This has been fun. I'm actually enjoying Houston winning. This is just more basketball games for us to watch and love. And just I love watching basketball. I love watching great basketball. The fourth quarters have been awesome. You can't turn off the TV. So I want more of it. But, guys, Golden State, Game 6, Oracle turns it around. And then Game 7, Chris Paul injury, in, out, whatever. I think they win both these games. And then whoever comes out of the East, I got Golden State winning the whole thing.
Couldn't agree more. So, really, we're watching the finals right now.
In a way. Whoever wins Game 6, Game 7 is the champion, I think. But
I agree.
I got a kind of theory for you.
Okay.
Klay Thompson. He used to be called Robin, right? Like Batman and Robin. Some people can kind of say he's like the Scottie Pippen to Curry and all that stuff when they were winning championships and they had 73 wins, the greatest win total ever.
Okay.
Kevin Durant comes to town. He's kind of now the third guy. Like, no one remembers the third guy. We all know it was Conor versus Floyd in the main event. I don't know what the co-main event was. We all remember Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz. Like, I don't remember who they fought before and after. Klay Thompson, if you're not winning multiple championships, he can be forgotten a little bit. He's like the third wheel. He's not getting the shots he used to. He's a free agent coming up next year. Do you think if they don't win this championship, and this is just kind of like in one of those, I love projecting and thinking through and talking about the future. Yep, yeah, great call. What happens to Klay? Does Klay Thompson say, hey, dude, Phoenix with Devin Booker, great shooter. They got the first pick. They're going to get a big. I can go to Phoenix, and then I can win, for the first time in Phoenix. Booker and Klay, kind of what they had with Curry and Klay. Just an idea. That's just one off the top of my head. What do you think happens to Klay Thompson?
A couple things. First, I think we do remember the third person. Like, we do mention Dennis Rodman. We do mention Chris Bosh. We do mention Kevin Love with Kyrie and LeBron. But the big question on that theory is Draymond's the Dennis Rodman of this team.
Agree.
And it's like he arguably is – you'd say Steph Curry's the most valuable. Kevin Durant's the best player. But if it wasn't for Draymond, the grit, the toughness of this team would not be the same. He leads this team in assists. I think in rebounds, the best defender on the team. So it almost overshadows Klay, where he's almost the fourth person talked about. Even though he may not be the fourth best on the team, is the fourth person talked about. Just because what he does, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry do just better. So that being said, it's a great point, but I do believe he still stays. And I think the only way he leaves, even if they lose this series or lose in the finals somehow, is if Steph Curry has an injury where he can't be the same player. So that takes away from this whole Golden State Warriors system. So now it's like they're a good team. They're a really good team, but they're not the same team. They're not as magical. And I think if that's the case and Steph Curry's ankles are just – he's completely injury prone and he's not the same player, I think Klay would think about it. But I think if everyone stays the same, health-wise, everyone's okay, I think he stays.
Okay.
Because I think he has a lot of self-awareness and he realizes he's a part of something that's special and may go down in history as the greatest team ever. So I just don't see him leaving that.
Okay, so you and I are both in agreement. We got Golden State winning the next two games. They're going to win the Western Conference Finals and move forward. We can kind of move off this. We can jump to the East Coast.
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. All right, tonight's the night, guys. Game 6, Eastern Conference Finals. The Boston Celtics up 3-2, flying to Cleveland, Quicken Loans Arena. What do you got, Max? Game 6.
Game 6. I have the Cleveland Cavaliers defeating the Boston Celtics. You may say, why is that?
Sweet. That's a really cool thing. You got that. Game 6, huh?
This is why I believe that. I think the Cavaliers beat the Celtics because, one, you have the GOAT, LeBron James. He's down 3-2 right now. I think he wins any critical game that you must win. He goes in this crazy, possessed, basketball god mode and just does everything. Doesn't matter if his supporting cast shows up or not, and I hate saying that because it's all about having a team, and that's ultimately why I don't think he wins the championship this year is because his supporting cast. But I do think he can overcome that with the Boston Celtics. We've seen him come back from 3-1. He's just been there, done that. These are rookies. And secondly, because they're rookies, they're not good on the road. They're a terrible road team right now.
They are. Good call.
Yeah, they're not the same team when they're at home and then when they're on the road. So I definitely think the Cavs win Game 6 at home. But what the big question is Game 7, because Game 7 is in Boston, and they're undefeated this whole playoffs in Boston. So that's where I can, like, if people say, hey, I think the Celtics are going to win because of Game 7, you're not crazy for thinking that because I don't know what it is. I just think maybe the adrenaline, the home crowd, of course, great coaching, like you always say, Dave. They're always great at home. They're like a different team. And the Cavaliers don't have a great supporting cast. But I do believe LeBron James will overcome all of that and go to the NBA Finals.
Wow, jeez. We talked about at the beginning of the show, Max. This is awesome. Eastern Conference, Western Conference, could be Game 6 both, and then could go down to Game 7s with, the Rockets being at home and Boston being at home. And they're kind of, to me, like both underdogs in a way. You got Cleveland and the Warriors. That's what everyone thought. You got LeBron in Game 7. This is awesome. I'm so excited. LeBron James will definitely win Game 6. That's my 2 cents. And you ready for this? I'm going to kind of lock this in a little bit. It's not my locked in, but
okay.
Put money on it. I'm trying to win people money here.
Okay.
Bet on Cleveland, guys. They win big. I have them winning over 20 points.
Sports gambling's legal.
Yep, especially in the state of Florida. It's coming real soon. But put money on Cleveland, whatever the line is. I'll look it up after this, and I'll throw it on social media platforms, the Locked In community on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Bet on Cleveland. They're going to destroy him, swamp him. And if I'm wrong, come at me. Come at me. I'm telling you, Cleveland's winning big. All right, so we go to Game 7. They're at Boston. They are undefeated at home. Brad Stevens at home. I don't know. I think I'm gonna be on the seesaw a little bit on this. I think I have to wait for the first 3 minutes of the game. It's one of those things.
I can't let you do that. You're gonna have to give your prediction before that. You're gonna have to do that.
After the first quarter, if it's close, I love Cleveland. But if it's one of those things, Boston hits 8 3-pointers and Marcus Smart can't miss a shot, and freaking the bench for Boston's hitting threes, it's like, oh my gosh, down that dang road again. If I had to say it right now, my locked-in would be Cleveland wins. You never go against LeBron James, the king, the GOAT. You never go against him, especially in Game 7s. His points and rebounds and assists and his records, unbelievable in Game 7. Ask Golden State a couple years ago. But this is tough. This is tougher than to predict than the Western Conference Finals. I think Golden State wins home at Game 6 pretty easily. In Game 7, I think they win as well. So, I don't know. This is crazy.
I have a couple theories here.
Okay.
Couple big talking points. One, I've been on the losing end of a couple bets with you, Dave, as far as vanilla iced coffees from Dunkin' Donuts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to the community for donating some iced coffee cards. We do, however, have a bet now where it's, if I lose with this series, I have the Cavs winning the series. Dave had the Celtics.
Yes.
If you win, I owe you 3 iced coffees. If I win, I owe you 0. No longer in debt. So I'm hoping that for just not only because I'm a LeBron fan, but because of the coffee bet, that they win. Another theory I do have for you, I believe LeBron James is leaving. 80% of me knows that he's leaving. I feel like I know him somehow. I feel like I just talked to him. You think he stays?
Yes.
Let's just assume he stays.
Okay.
This is the last time the Cavaliers and the Warriors go to the NBA Finals.
No.
Together.
No. If he stays, no, they're back next year.
Even if he stays with the ascending Celtics team, with the ascending 76ers young, athletic, long team, and Boston Celtics get Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward back with Brad Stevens, you still think they break an NBA record and they go for 5 straight appearances together?
Yes.
Wow.
Let's get into this. I like this.
Yeah,
okay,
because this is interesting.
I have LeBron making the finals until he retires or until he's on the bench.
That's my locked in.
Okay, so there you go. So I'll coattail on your locked in. LeBron, I think Cleveland gets better if LeBron stays. I don't know how. I don't know if they trade for Kemba Walker. For one, guys, they have the 8th pick of the draft, and everyone's like, oh, it's the 8th pick, and, you say the last 10 years it hasn't been great. Guys, Donovan Mitchell was like the 14th pick of the draft. Usually the 14th pick of the draft isn't great, and that pick was, I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be a 7-time All-Star. He's a really great player. And especially this draft, I can't put my finger on it. I'm a Knicks fan. They pick number 9, so I'm super into the NBA draft right now. Picks 5 through 11, I love. Guys like Michael Porter Jr., Colin Sexton from Alabama. There's, of course, Trae Young from Oklahoma. My guy, Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke. We'll talk to we'll get into. We'll got to get Aaron Goldstone back on the potty for the NBA draft, debate, mock draft. I love 6 through 10. So Cleveland gets a free, legit, good player to me. And you see how good the rookies are with Tatum and what Boston is doing. And they make a signing, they make a trade. Maybe they trade a contract like Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith trying to get bad contracts for Tim Hardaway Jr. Just throwing that out there. They get better. They improve. This is what I think about Boston. This is what it's driving me a little bit crazy because they keep on talking about it. I love Brad Stevens, and I love Boston, what they're doing. Like, their team is great. I defend it. But, guys, everyone knows Rozier is playing like a B-plus player. So when Kyrie Irving comes back, you're gaining a little bit. It's not like you're just gaining Kyrie Irving 28 points and 4 assists. You're losing Terry Rozier's 22 points that he's getting.
Great point. I agree.
You're not gaining a lot. And then same thing with Gordon Hayward. He's an awesome player. 2 years ago, he was like a 2nd or 3rd All-NBA team. He's a really good player. Let's call a spade a spade. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I think right now and going into the future, are better, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So if he plays, does one of them have to sit? Or do they play really, really small and have all 3 of them in, and then just Al Horford? It's like one of those, they have a great team, and I'm not saying they're going to be, better or a little bit better, because I think all those young guys will improve a little bit, but I just don't see them winning 76-6 next year and just winning the all-time win record.
That's a great point, but Dave, okay, now that leads me to another question. We agree Brad Stevens is arguably the best coach in the entire NBA.
Agree.
But what comes with coaching is managing personalities, managing egos. Now, with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's ascension to the top, just completely destroying everybody's expectations, just exceeding them.
By the way. I love that word, ascension.
Yeah, so you have that. We've never seen Brad Stevens had to deal with multiple egos. Because he's always had a roster where he overachieves, but he's never had a roster where he has too much talent. So that will be a true test to Brad Stevens, but it would also be a bigger test to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Hey, I'm this young. Hey, I'm producing this much. Why should I sit behind an injured Gordon Hayward? Why should I sit behind Kyrie Irving? And then Kyrie Irving came because of ego. He wanted to be the man.
Yes.
So is this something Brad Stevens can handle, and is this something that the young players can handle?
Absolutely. I don't know. We will see next year. And then, of course, the elephant in the room that, we can talk about if you want to, Kyrie Irving will be a free agent next year. Does Boston want to say, hey, we're giving you the super max, here's 5 years, $200 million, here's a big contract? Or do you save that money for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown? They have actually more picks coming up. Do you spread it out? Al Horford makes a lot of money. You don't want to cap yourself. If you give all the money to Kyrie, that means Rozier's gone and Morris is gone. Stuff like that right off the bat. So you got to pick and choose. They almost have, in a way, I know this sounds crazy, they got too many players. Golden State had to let some guys go because they had to sign Durant.
That's a great point. And Kevin McHale, one thing we know about Kevin McHale.
Danny Ainge?
I'm sorry, Danny Ainge.
No problem.
They're Celtics greats. So Danny Ainge, one thing he does is he always tries to win the deal.
Yes.
Always tries to win the deal. So will he let his ego get in the way with dealing Kyrie Irving? Will he be ready to offer him that supermax? Like you just said, I don't know.
Yeah. Great point.
I think LeBron leaves, though. I still do.
Nah. I'm coming
That's a separate
home.
podcast on the road.
I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm
There you go.
coming
Oh,
home.
by the way, this reminds me, for anybody that doesn't know our podcast jargon, you said potty. That does mean podcast. We don't want to see Aaron Goldstone on the potty. We want to see him on the podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll get a picture of Aaron Goldstone on the podcast, not on the potty.
Because you made such a great point and you were ranting. I'm like, I can't interrupt him. I got to make sure I remember.
Thank you. I actually have a real important question for you.
Okay.
This is serious. This is a big, in-depth question. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Is Thanos the greatest villain of all time?
I was waiting for you to ask me that question since Avengers came out.
Yes!
So, Thanos is the greatest villain of all time. He's not my favorite. My favorite is Joker. I think he's the most interesting. We always talk about storylines in sports. I think Joker's just a storyline. That's his character. But Thanos is the most powerful, obviously. If you haven't seen Avengers yet, shame on you. I'm going to spoil it. He gets the Infinity Stones.
He kills everybody.
He kills everybody.
He wins.
They will come back. They already signed a new Spider-Man movie. But my point being is he's the Golden State Warriors when everyone's healthy.
Ooh, Thanos is the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's the Power Crystal. The Soul Stone is going to be Steph Curry. He's the heart and soul of the team. Well, actually, I can argue that's Draymond. That's Draymond.
Curry's the time.
Yeah, because he's ahead of his time. He changed the NBA game with the three-point shot.
Gosh, this is the greatest podcast in the history of the podcast world.
But now,
come at me, ESPN. Come at me.
And listen, listen. But LeBron James is Hulk and Captain America combined. He has the strength that nobody else has, but yet he's a leader like Captain America.
Captain Hulk.
Captain Hulk.
Wow.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
He doesn't have the Avengers assembled around him. He has George Hill, Kyle Korver, Kevin Love, who's not playing like Kevin Love as a second best player.
He's got like D- superheroes. He's got like Aquaman and the Tick, and he's got.
We're in the DC universe now. We don't even have a third best player on this Cavs team.
It's not even Marvel anymore. It's like the bad X-Men. It's like Morph, who didn't even make the movie. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk about the Cavs.
That's a great question, though.
Thanks, man. So what? Okay, let's just get down to the brass knuckles.
Nitty gritty.
Cleveland, they win this series. You like that nitty gritty?
I have the Cleveland Cavaliers winning in 7 games against the Boston Celtics. I think it's a nail biter. I don't think Game 7's a blowout by any means. If it is, it's the Celtics winning. I think if the Cavs win, it's not a blowout. It's, oh my God, please LeBron don't lose. I have to close my eyes and look away.
Yeah.
But I think he wins. I think somehow he overcomes it, and hopefully. And I may sound crazy saying this because Ryan, who's been on our podcast,
the guru,
been on the potty, he's a Houston Rockets fan. But
yes.
I personally do feel if somehow the Houston Rockets make it to the NBA Finals, and somehow the Cleveland Cavaliers make it to the NBA Finals, LeBron James has a legitimate shot of winning a title.
Wow.
Legitimate shot. And that's my locked-in. I might as well skip to my locked-in right there.
Okay.
I think Kevin Love plays a big Game 7. I think he steps up to the plate and shows he's the second best player on this team.
So he's like Iron Man, right?
Hopefully for this game, I'll show him some love. And the NBA Finals will be the Golden State Warriors versus the Cavaliers, but if somehow the Rockets make it, the Cavs have a shot.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to lock something in, and then I know there's tons of basketball this weekend. The whole season's on the line this weekend. We'll try to get back to you this weekend. But we do definitely want to talk about there's a real good UFC main event, Darren Till versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. We'll get into that. But you kind of had your locked-in, so here's mine. My locked-ins is 100% both teams that are at home for Game 6 win. Golden State and Cleveland wins. I think Cleveland wins really big. I kind of think Golden State wins big as well, but I'm not sure. Let's see how, with no Chris Paul, see how Houston plays. And sometimes what happens is Golden State kind of, hey, Chris Paul isn't playing, guys. We're at home. You know, they almost go into the game a little light. Kind of like, remember the Spurs did that 2 years ago to Houston? Kawhi didn't play, and they still beat Houston at home. So that could be a tough game. I still think, of course, Golden State wins. That's my locked in. Game 6, Golden State wins. Game 6, Cleveland wins.
What's a bigger shock? The Celtics beat the Cavs in Cleveland, or the Rockets beat the Golden State Warriors in Golden State?
It's not even a question. And anyone that wants to argue or debate this, come at me. I'll fight you. I'll literally throw fists to you. Houston's the bigger shot, guys.
Okay.
Boston and Cleveland. Some people thought Cleveland was going to win in the first round. Like they were losing to Indiana, Everyone knows. And then some people had picked Toronto to beat them. Guys, Cleveland's awful. LeBron's trying to win a championship by himself. The other side is a dynasty, the greatest team maybe ever in basketball history, this Golden State Warriors. If they lose to the Houston Rockets, it's a major shockwave through sports.
Wow. I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't. I think, like you just said, you have a great player, once-in-a-lifetime player, but we also have a dynasty. And the player needs a supporting cast. The dynasty has a supporting cast. So it would be a bigger shock, especially Chris Paul out.
Okay, before we go to the UFC, guys, this Saturday night, big main event, I'm going to talk to you about Pep-Boys. In our home city, Daytona Beach, 2250 West International Speedway. It's right across from the racetrack, guys. They're having Country 500 there this weekend. A big show here in town. Go see Richie. He is the absolute best in the business. He will help you in anything you need. If it's brakes, if it's air condition, if it's a tire you need help with. Or, not even that, one thing that's the most underrated about this store, the store is amazing. So, not even if you need car work done, maintain your car, clean it, wax it, get some air fresheners, whatever you need to do. Go to Pep-Boys, see our guy Richie, and tell him the Locked In Squad sent you.
And if you guys, I'll relate to you. I live in Florida. It's hot as crap. And my AC is not working. So, I will be at Pep-Boys. You will see me at Pep-Boys. If you run into me, let's take a picture. Let's get locked in.
Wow, I love it. Okay, here we go. Let's get locked in. UFC this weekend. Where are they? Aren't they in, like, Liverpool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Darren Till. And, Dave, I'm saying it right now, these two fighters should be fighting for the interim title belt.
No.
This is a bigger match than RDS versus Covington. It's
RDA.
I'm sorry. RDA
okay.
and Covington. This is a bigger match because I think Wonderboy was the closest to beating Woodley. And you can argue he won because one was a draw.
Sure.
So it's kind of hard to say this person won, this person didn't. The second time, I think Woodley just fought a smart fight, but he didn't dominate Wonderboy. It was similar to the first fight. Darren Till's on a roll. He's young. He's athletic. This is a fight. This is a fight right here, and I think this fight should be for the belt. I'm a little upset.
Okay. So I'm going to disagree with you and then agree. So I disagree that this fight should be for the title.
Okay.
RDA, for one, has been a champion before, so there's some champion pedigree. And two, Colby Covington, I don't like him personally, right? But he's been kind of the talk of the weight class. He's just been all up in everyone's business, yelling, screaming, Twitter posts. So he's kind of like the buzz guy in the weight class right now. So for me, it's the championship contender, who was a champion, and then the buzz guy and Colby.
Dave, we've had a couple people buzz at us. But we don't always acknowledge that.
Oh, no way. Let the haters hate.
We let haters hate. So why reward Covington just because he's been buzzing? You need to produce.
All right, guys.
That's a good one. Dave is thinking right now.
I'm literally thinking on air. No, that's a great point, but then I'm going to kind of go with you with the fight. I want to see Till versus Thompson more than RDA and Covington. Like, this fight, I cannot wait.
Okay.
It's got fireworks written all over it. To me, it's a TKO or a knockout first, second, or third round. It's one of those things. I'm rooting for Wonderboy. I like him. I like the way he fights. I'm kind of rooting for him. He kind of reminds me of our man Chris Mixon, Mighty Mixon at a Pete White's gym, right?
Wow.
But I think Till beats him. I think Till at home, he's on fire. I think he's undefeated in the UFC. So I think Darren Till wins.
Man, you're not crazy. Dave, I'm not sure who wins. And I rarely say this. I'm not sure. Yeah, styles make fights. They really do. And Wonderboy has a style that's hard to figure out. But if you do, it's like almost Lyoto Machida. It's like when Lyoto Machida had his style that nobody knew, he was highly effective. But the people that figured it out knocked him out.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those things kind of like Game 7.
I'm thinking on air now.
You got to see like the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If you see that Till's the aggressor and he figures out Wonderboy, he's going to beat him. But if he can't figure out that style, and sometimes you just can't because you're not in the octagon, no one fights like Machida. No one really fights like Wonderboy. So I agree with you. But this fight's exciting. I cannot wait. So I'm just going to, I'm predicting Darren Till gets the win.
I'm leaning that way, but just for argument's sake, I'm going to say Wonderboy.
Awesome.
There. And before we go, guys,
okay.
I want to thank you, Fit Meals. Make sure you check out myfitmeals.com, and you can start your meal plan today. What's the number, Dave?
844-FIT-4U. We got 844-FIT-4U.
Sounded just like a commercial. So,
yep, that's my voice.
If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain weight, whatever the case may be, you're busy with school, you're busy with work, you need a quick, easy meal that's healthy, My Fit Meals is definitely the meal plan for you.
Awesome. We already said our locked-ins. So, guys, download, subscribe each episode. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, tell your enemies, tell your cats, tell everyone to download and subscribe. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Maybe one of the last things, too, get your T-shirts. We actually have been noticing a lot more people getting the T-shirts. The website is shop.spreadshirt.com. Locked in. I'm going to say that one more time. It's shop.spreadshirt.com and then a / locked in with 2 N's. So go on it. There's like 8 different styles of shirts, baby shirts, girl shirts, big shirts, small shirts. Low
everything.
Top. Yeah, everything. So get yourself a locked in shirt. Pick out a color, charcoal gray, aquamarine, pink,
red,
purple, blue.
Any other color? I'm not sure. I'm sure they have it.
All colors of the Infinity Stones, I think.
Wow.
Yep.
That sums up a great episode, guys.
Guys, awesome.
Like always, stay locked in.